and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Are you struggling to sleep at night? Have you heard of Sleep Cream? Sleep Cream is a revolutionary new product made from all natural ingredients and with pure CBD. You just rub it on sensitive skin areas right before bed. You will feel relaxed in a matter of minutes and you will get the best sleep you've had in years. I know I have. You might have heard all kinds of mixed messages about CBD, but Sleep Cream only uses pharmaceutical grade pure CBD crystals with zero THC. And it's made right here in the USA. So if you want an all natural way to sleep better, you need to try Sleep Cream. And best of all, it's guaranteed to work or your money back. No questions asked. Just try it for yourself. And with its 100% money back guarantee, you have nothing to lose except more sleepless nights. Go to sleepcream.com. That's sleep, CREME.com. And you can use code November24 at checkout to save $24 on your first order. If you're ready for your best sleep ever, go to sleepcream.com. That's sleep, CREME.com. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View Ladies Tea. Tonight, we are joined by host of Public Square Live and a Turning Point USA contributor, Erin Elmore, as well as Deputy Director of Hispanic Outreach for the RNC, our own Vianca Rodriguez. Erin and Vianca, thank you, ladies, for joining us. Ladies, we are literal minutes away from what I'm going to guess is probably the only debate we're going to see between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Not because Donald Trump said, I only want to do one debate, but because Kamala Harris can't handle more than one debate against Donald Trump. There's a lot swirling around, a lot of thoughts, a lot of predictions. There are a lot of articles telling Kamala, Vianca, what it is that she needs to do in order to be successful in this debate against Donald Trump. They're saying she needs a viral moment. Remember the I'm speaking. Remember that with Mike Pence, one of those moments. And the advisors apparently that Kamala has are telling her that the majority of this debate will not be actually watched live here in about an hour. This debate will actually be viewed more so via social media clips. So she needs to have one of the big moments. Here's my for you, Vianca. If you are an American voter who has not yet made up your mind and decided for whom you will vote in this debate or in this election, and you're coming into this debate tonight, and maybe there's a viral moment, maybe you get some social media clips. If you are a person who is looking for just that in order to be the reason people vote for you, or you're looking to goad the other person into responding in some sort of a nasty way or negative way, is that really the person you want to put in the White House? Is that really the best choice to be the leader of the free world? I mean, Bianca, just give me your thoughts on all of it.
No, I mean, it's crazy because on one hand, the media is obviously propping her up, and that's why overnight she became all of a sudden the most popular candidate, even though everybody was saying how she was very unpopular, dragging down Joe Biden's ticket. So of course they're going to be, facilitating this whole thing for her and trying to portray her as if she was very prepared for this and getting prepared and whatever, and she's going to be beating Donald Trump tomorrow, which is probably going to be, not even probably, it's definitely going to be the exact opposite. The thing is that the only things that work for her in her favor are having those little moments to be able to try to interrupt him and try to have those little viral moments, like you were saying, to say I'm speaking, but that's not going to happen because of the rules that she fought so hard against and they ultimately ended up keeping, which is going to be fabulous because she's only going to have a very limited time frame to try to get the actual policies across. And it's going to be very interesting because a lot of the policies that she's going to maybe talk about are the same policies that she copied off of Donald Trump. So I think Trump's got this in the bag, at least from the conversations that I've had with people, on the streets and people that I know that have also been kind of, you could say they're independent, on the fence, whatnot, but they're leaning towards Trump because they know that, one, he's already been president, so he's very good on the economic front and the other policies that are most important to them, at least to the Latino voters. And two, I think that ultimately Pennsylvania especially, it's a battleground state, and the Latino vote is going to be super critical there because the last elections were decided by like around 81,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we win a big chunk of the Latino population this time around, which we were already doing, and we've already gained so much ground with them
Polling
in the
is
last
great.
2020
Yeah.
elections, it's so good. I think that this is going to be like, I think that Trump is going to see a huge polling bump in the right after the debate because of this.
Yeah, Erin, we've seen Kamala Harris one time in one interview with CNN. She spoke for a total of 18 minutes. She had her emotional support animal of Tim Walz there right beside her. And we know what she wanted for this debate. Here's the funny thing to me is that the Democrats want to just do anything they can to make things easier for themselves. Remember when they insisted that they had the mics cut whenever you weren't answering a question? Remember when they were emphatic about that rule? They said no audience, mics are going to be cut if you're not talking. For the June 27th debate, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Now here we are on September 10th versus Kamala Harris, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. No, we want to change the rules now. You can't do that. And Donald Trump said, look, I'm going based off of the rules that you guys fought for, that you guys wanted. We said yes to those rules months ago. You can't come in the 11th hour and say, oh, no, we have a different candidate we plugged in. We want things to be easier for her. They wanted her to sit at a desk. I went back and looked at that Mike Pence debate that she had in 2020. They were sitting down at desks. They wanted her to be able to have notes. They agreed on no notes. But we have only seen Kamala Harris one time. And so there's a lot of weight in this debate tonight. There's a lot that is at stake for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been doing the thing that she hasn't. He's been out there at not just Trump rallies, but he's been out there at town halls. He's been out there doing press conferences. He's been out there doing podcasts. He has taken so many questions from all different people. This is a dangerous space for Kamala Harris tonight. And I think the onus is really on her this evening. What do you think?
I agree with you completely. The stakes are very high, but I will say this. I'm certainly not giving her the benefit of the doubt, but I do believe that she has one skill, and that's memorization. So she's going to have her 5 or 6 little sound bites memorized. So here's the problem that we might face. If something trips her up, if something gets off of her recording, she might sort of short circuit like a robot and go back to the coconut trees in the Venn diagram. But I do believe that she will have her 6 points. You know, whether the question is about, I don't know, Medicare for all, which she said she supported, I think she'll just pivot to one of those 5 or 6 memorized nursery rhymes that she has perfected. Yes, she is an attorney. She was in the courtroom. She did fail the bar the first time, which I passed the first time, just saying.
Oh.
But having said that, I mean, she does know how to allegedly be in front of a crowd and speak. We haven't seen that a whole lot. We've seen a lot about school buses and outer space. But I'm telling you, she's going to have like 6 points about, let's call it abortion or crime or maybe the economy that aren't going to be truths, but she will have those memorized. So I don't think she's going to totally flop on her face unless she gets kicked off of her game. And she should be glad that Donald Trump didn't agree to her rules about the microphone, because if he could speak in those moments and get her off of her air quotes A game, for Kamala that's really like a Z game, she, you know, this is only going to benefit her. And I think Donald Trump has been so prepared. You indicated all of the things that he has been doing. This is another day for him. This isn't a big deal for him because he is prepared. He is out there hitting the pavement 365, 24/7. So I think the onus, like you said, is on Kamala to really show that she's got the cojones, because we know she doesn't have the policy.
Well, she certainly doesn't have the policy. She has been, though. I mean, there's a place in which you do get actually over prepared, right? And I agree with you, Erin, 1,000%. The memorized lines, the little jabs, man, I'm sure they have them. I've been a prosecutor. I know Donald Trump's type. Those sorts of things they're going to have in there. Her friend Wanda, like all the stories they've gotten Kamala prepared for. But she's been locked up in Pittsburgh for 5 days straight doing debate prep. Meanwhile, like Donald Trump is doing debate prep. I've sat in for some of his debate prep and he's doing great, but he doesn't debate prep all day. It's like an hour.
Mhm.
And then he actually flies to places like Wisconsin to do a campaign stop. He does interviews at the campaign stop with press. You know, like there's a lot that can happen. But I think you're right. Look, we can't underestimate Kamala Harris to any extent. There are a lot of people who believe ABC may or may not have possibly given hints on the questions to Kamala Harris. We know Donna Brazile gave Hillary Clinton the questions before a debate versus Bernie Sanders back in 2016. So look, whatever it is, Donald Trump is ready. And I think the bottom line here is that instead of actually trying to make these little sound bites work and these little viral moments happen, Trump's coming with policy. Donald Trump's coming with facts and actual tangible things that he did as president of the United States. And he can look right in the camera and say, look, think about how your life was 4 years ago. I was in the White House. We had a low of $1.87 a gallon of gas. Gas has skyrocketed to $5 around the country in multiple places. Take a look at when you go shopping for groceries. Take a look at, how you feel in your communities. Do you feel safe right now? All of the things that he was able to deliver for the American people, he can harken back to. Kamala Harris has to get up there and defend where we are right now and why anyone would want to give her another term in office, because we've seen the results of Kamala Harris in the White House. It's happening right now today, and people cannot afford their lives. Here are some questions that people apparently want answered and that she's likely to get tonight. Were you the last person in the room with President Joe Biden as he prepared to enact his evacuation plan in Afghanistan? And did you voice any concerns about his strategy? Vianca, we know she said multiple times, I was the last one in the room. She's trying to make herself seem very important. How's that working out? Do you still support decriminalizing border crossings? Great question, Kamala. How about this one? You spent trillions in your first term, which only made inflation worse. What will you do to spend less taxpayer money? We know they want to pay off student debt and student loans, Vianca. How about this one? Here's the one I would like answered. Would you pardon Hunter Biden? Vianca, do you expect any of these questions to come up? And how do you think Kamala would field these questions?
Unfortunately, this type of media is not going to be bringing up these type of questions to her, because they are looking to continue protecting her, and they're going to throw a lot of softballs at her. While they're probably going to, they're so predictable. I already know that they're going to try to fit in somewhere among those questions against Trump to kind of try to bring out the whole, like, so, we are the crib of the birth of democracy here in Pennsylvania. What are you going to do? Because a lot of people are calling you a dictator. I'm sure that that's going to come up. And then with her, it's all just going to be like, so the first female, perhaps African-American Black president of this country. Oh, yes, beautiful. It's so annoying. And then you were mentioning too, you just mentioned something about paying off student debt. No, what they're probably going to do is that which it's already something they've proposed, they're trying to pay off the health care for all illegal migrants and pay off every single debt and give them free everything, free housing, phones, everything you want to name it. That's their priority. And the craziest thing of everything is that she's acting like this is her first rodeo. Like this is her first time, running. Like, yeah, it is technically her first time running for president, but it's not her first time running for office. And she's right now in the White House. So it's crazy to me that she's acting like, oh my God, I need to get super prepared. I don't know what I'm going to say. I need to, like if she's away from that environment when she's supposed to be in it every single day. And so it's supposed to be a little bit easier when you already know allegedly what you're talking about and what you're doing to be able to talk about these things. And the fact that she has to prepare so much, it's already a red flag to me. And I know it's going to be a red flag for a lot of other people.
This is the vice president. Vianca, this is the vice president of the United States. And by the way, she did run for president before, and she had to drop out before her own home state even voted because she was polling so low. Now, she's never been the nominee, and she still technically shouldn't be the nominee because not a single primary vote was cast for Kamala, but I digress. Erin, really quick, here's of course, y'all know I love a good comment section. The comment section on this article I'm reading. Here are the questions Kamala will really receive. What is your favorite color? Do you like feather or poly foam pillows? What sneakers do you wear for comfort? What is your favorite breakfast food? Who does your hair? Thank you so much. I mean, Erin, we may be closer to those kind of questions for Kamala, but I don't know. I am going to hope that Lindsay Davis and David Muir have actually taken this seriously and are going to have her take some tough questions. But do you expect to hear any of those in there? Maybe those would be tough for her. I don't know.
Maybe where
We've all seen how quickly life can change. The outcome of a single event can impact our entire nation. Now more than ever, it's crucial to be prepared. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your family with ReadyWise emergency food. With ReadyWise emergency food, you're covered not just for the worst, but for anything life throws your way. Enjoy peace of mind knowing you have delicious, nutritious meals ready when your family needs them. ReadyWise has a huge selection of freeze-dried meals from breakfast to pasta dishes. You can be assured your food will be good to eat when you need it with their 25-year shelf life. ReadyWise is an American company that cares about its fellow citizens, you, and is committed to your safety. Visit ReadyWise.com and use promo code TRUMP20 at checkout for 20% off any regular priced items. That's ReadyWise.com, promo code TRUMP20. You've asked and MyPillow listened. They're finally bringing you the most requested offer ever. Right now, you can get the queen size premium MyPillow for only $19.98. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill, and it adjusts to your exact individual needs, regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get their 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets for only $25, the brand new mattress topper for as low as $69.98, and their famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25, and so much more. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-624-3945 and use promo code TRUMP to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That is the lowest price ever. Don't delay, order today and use promo code TRUMP.
is Willie Brown, and do you thank him for your ascent to power in California? I would like to know about, you used to support Medicare for all. Is that still the case? You used to say you were going to ban fracking. Is that still the case? You are the border czar. What's going on with the border? How about the taxing of unrealized gain, which will bankrupt all of us and destroy our 401ks? These are really good questions that a lot of people would like the answers to, because she has never indicated any policies that she'd cancel out as president. And then she'll go and, I love when they do this. President Trump has been out, unfortunately, of the White House for 3 years, and they say, we're cleaning up after President Trump. This is President Trump's fault. And it's total gaslighting. And I know there was a recent lie that, like, it's Donald Trump's fault. Like, if your kid stubs their toe or you, like, get a splinter, you're like, oh, Donald Trump did it again, dress. It's like everything in the world is Donald Trump's fault. And it's like, if people really think that, they are as stupid as the Democrats think they are, and there's not much we can do. But I don't anticipate any hardball questions for her. David Muir, we know, I mean, let's be very serious. He's not a conservative guy. But I hope, because his career is in a really good place, he could really, you know, be the next big thing. If he plays this straight, I would really appreciate that. And I think the American people would really appreciate that. I'm just glad Stephanopoulos isn't in there, because we've seen how he does, and it's not great.
Well, we'll be watching. It's happening soon. Maybe people will watch this after it's already over. Here's something beautiful that I think we saw last week from Donald Trump. We all know that our government is, I mean, incredibly inefficient, incredibly wasteful. People complain about it all the time. The amount of money that just gets dumped and wasted, our taxpayer dollars, it's astronomical, and it's really sickening. And Donald Trump is a pragmatic guy. Vianca, Donald Trump, when he ran for president, said, like, why are we spending so much money? And then you get in the White House and you realize that these people are, I mean, they're dug in. They you know, it's just a huge gaping hole, the federal government, of just. And he did a lot of great things. Do you remember whenever he renegotiated with Boeing for Air Force One? I mean, he got like $1 billion taken off the price because he kept calling him up and he was like, I'm not going to sign it if you don't bring the price down. They continue to bring the price down. This is the kind of leadership we need in America. So Donald Trump, about a week ago, did this huge economic speech in Manhattan. And one of the things he talked about, which I absolutely loved, was a complete audit of the federal government. And he wants Elon Musk in a Trump second term in office to be the person who is in charge of this. a federal government audit. And I mean, we're talking about things that are going to be so great for the American people. And to have a mind like Elon Musk in there, Vianca, a guy who designs rockets and electric cars and just kind of thinks outside the box and really understands how to get things done and get things done efficiently. I think when he took over Twitter, he got rid of so many people, right? And he was like, yeah, no more lattes at 2 p.m. and yoga at 3 p.m. No. You guys actually have to work if you want to be around here. That's who I want cleaning things up. I love the idea of this. I think that this is so smart. And Bianca, it's common sense. This is what people want to see out of a leader, somebody doing things like actually cleaning up the waste and the wasteful spending in our federal government.
100%. I'm so excited for that proposal as well, because when you have Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who both come from the private sector, they know what's going on, they know what's up. You know, Kamala Harris doesn't know. She doesn't know how to run a business. She barely knows even probably what her own proposals are about. Like, probably she has no idea what the
you mean price gouging instead of price
gouging
is not price gauging. She said price gauging, or is it price gouging, Kamala? She doesn't even know, Vianca. I would love someone to ask her that in the debate too. I digress. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, no, it's true. It's true. That's the problem with a lot of these Democrats. Like, I'm pretty sure, I know 100%, like not even Obama and just all the Democrats that we've had, which, by the way, at least the majority of the last 16 years have been Democrats in power. So a lot of these, you know, economic concerns that we're seeing, it's really, we have to attribute them to the Democrats, because we've only had Trump for, you know, less than 4 years. It's 4 years out of those 16 years that Democrats have been majorly in power. So even then, the fact that he was only there for 4 years, he had already achieved so many reforms that now have been undone, but that he can do again, that have been of benefit to many communities, including my Hispanic community. A lot more businesses have been created. A lot more small businesses have been able to, you know, be created and to be able to thrive, because that's another thing, unfortunately, for entrepreneurs. Like, typically the statistics are that at least 90 to 95% of businesses fail within the first year. And so a lot of that help was provided already under a Trump administration. And so now Kamala Harris she's trying to claim she's pro small businesses and pro business in general, when they were the ones that in their first year in office were already firing people left and right just because they didn't want to take the COVID vaccine. So, you know, it's going to be very interesting. And I do think that Elon Musk he's a genius at everything that he does. And I just think it's going to be historic in itself, because we're going to have actual business people or former business people being in charge of where our money is going to be headed, and being able to be more efficient with our government and our taxpayer money just being less wasted. That's another thing. Right now we still have a lot of COVID fraud and a lot of, you know, COVID related money that was sent to people that were not supposed to be getting that money to begin with. So, and that was, I learned recently, a change approved by Joe Biden, who made it a lot easier for that fraud to take place.
He probably doesn't even remember he did anything. Bless his heart. Erin, you know, I want somebody who's actually created jobs, and not just created jobs within the federal government, which is what Joe Biden, by the way, and Kamala Harris have been doing. Do you know that 20% of the jobs created have been government jobs? Some like 600,000 of the jobs. I love how they have to then tailor the taper back the numbers that they reported. 818,000 jobs they reported actually didn't exist. These are just created out of thin air. I want somebody who signed the front of a check, not the back of a check, who's employed people. To Vianca's point, we want business people to lead our country and run the country like a business, because it makes sense. You know what else I want? I want somebody who actually believes in free speech. Don't forget that it was under the Harris and Biden administration that we had that disinformation czar that they tried to make happen. Remember that? Remember how outrageous that was?
Crazy lady.
Another thing that Donald Trump promises in a second term in office is a free speech executive order. He's pledging to fire any bureaucrat engaging in censorship under the Harris regime. He says, I will sign an executive order banning any federal employee from colluding to limit speech, and we will fire every federal bureaucrat who's engaging in domestic censorship under the Harris regime. He says Congress shall make this is the Bill of Rights. this is our First Amendment. Ready for it? And you tell me, everybody listen up and tell me if you feel like our First Amendment freedoms are being trampled on right now. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That First and Foremost Amendment at the top of the Bill of Rights reads. Right now, there are a lot of people who feel like their rights are kind of being taken away, where you're censored in a lot of respects. We know how they've done in previous elections. We know that Mark Zuckerberg, Erin, recently came out and said, you know, I actually did do some things that I regret via the Harris-Biden administration. They asked me during COVID to censor a lot of people and to reduce a lot of people's ability to say what it is that they thought and they wanted to say, and just kind of keep it in the background. And I mean, let's be honest, I'm probably still shadow banned on a lot of outlets. The idea that you have a president coming in who wants to make a free speech executive order, great news. Love it, Erin.
Well, don't forget also that Hunter Biden's laptop, the federal government and their 3-letter agencies went to Twitter before it was owned by Elon,
That's
Facebook,
right.
Instagram, all of the social media accounts, and told them it was Russian disinformation. So that could have changed. I mean, now polling shows that could have changed
Absolutely.
the outcome of the election.
Yeah.
That is a fact. So this is something that they've been doing, and doing not on a small basis. And I'm a huge free speech constitutionalist. I think the speech we should protect is the speech that offends us the most, right?
Yes.
I don't believe in hate speech. People are allowed to hate you. People are allowed to say things. Of course, you can't incite violence. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There are very few limitations, but guess what? Misinformation shouldn't be one of them. We as American people should have the right to say, I see something online or in the press, and I am discerning enough, and I can ascertain myself through my resources to find out if it's true or false. But I do think that the press, on the other hand, should also, if their job is to be a journalist, they shouldn't be a political advocate. And we're seeing way too much of that across the board.
It's all they do. That's their whole MO. That's the whole way they operate. You are hard pressed out there to actually find anyone who just wants to report on the facts and information. It's all with a slant. It's all, one way or the other. And it's a shame because, people really do need that information. Here's how I know we're full blown in election season, though. It's because we're bringing back some Russia collusion nonsense. We're bringing back Russia. We're getting close, Vianca. That's how you know, because they're starting to talk about it. You did have apparently New York Governor Kathy Hochul, much like Dianne Feinstein, much like Eric Swalwell, had a Chinese spy within her midst for quite some time. She said she didn't know. Apparently this person, as of 2023, no longer worked for her. But we've had a lot of people spying in America. We've seen Chinese spy balloons come over. We had a lot going on. Now, all of a sudden, though, they're honing in on Russia. Russia's trying to influence this election. Bianca, didn't Russia come out and Vladimir Putin endorsed Kamala Harris, essentially?
Yeah.
So I did a Sunday show over the weekend, and I was asked about this, and my response, and I think everybody's response should be, we, the people of the United States of America, are the only people who should be deciding the outcome of our elections. We're the only ones who should be able to influence anything. No outside actor, no outside country, no one else should be able to do that. But it feels like the press is grabbing on to Russia and they're saying, wait a minute, this is something that the Republicans are loving. We don't know anything about this, Vianca. I just want a free, fair, and transparent election. But I am going to guess that over the next 50-some days, you're going to hear the press talk about Russia quite a bit.
This is what they've been doing for the last now 3 elections. And the craziest thing that I've noticed is that I don't even think, yes, it's a threat, just like foreign interference in general is always going to be a threat. But I feel like the bigger threat is the media, because the media is committing their own type of electoral interference by again, just propping up Kamala Harris left and right and like singing her praises in every single type of media possible. While I'm not even saying that I necessarily want that for Donald Trump, I think that I agree with the both of you. It's like we just want a fair, unbiased media at all levels so that it's at least level coverage and equal coverage for both of them. But that's not what we're seeing. What we're seeing right now, and it's unfortunate because that does have an effect on the overall population and how they feel towards, you know, certain candidates, especially when we know that voters don't typically read beyond the headlines. And that's another thing, like they take advantage of their own headlines to give out misleading statements, and then people see that, and you know, there's a bunch of fear mongering, and the first thing that they read, that's what they stick with. And on one hand, it's, I guess it's strategically, you know, positive for media that depends on this type of coverage, but on the other hand, it's not beneficial for those that are running, you know, and trying to run an honest campaign. It's just not happening. So yeah, like Russia's a threat, it's always going to be a threat, but also we're not talking enough about the media interference, and also China. Like, why is it that nobody is giving more coverage to the fact that Democrats lately, especially Kathy Hochul,
because they're being paid by the Chinese
has,
Communist Party.
Yeah,
Could be, Erin.
I mean, it's insane. I wouldn't. That's probably a possibility. Like,
Well,
that's the crazy part. And then they're
Erin,
over here accusing a bunch of influencers for, you know, being paid by Russia. But that's one thing that I
now all
asked
of a
actually
sudden
another Democrat, like, what about the Chinese?
Well, we're apparently colluding with Russia, Vianca, according to the mainstream media.
Okay.
But to your point, the Democrats and China. Erin, go ahead, because I know you got something to say about this.
This is so black and white. We have Putin, who's come out and said, I support Kamala Harris. Then why would Russia then be colluding to try to get Donald Trump elected? It's kind of basic 101, duh. And Laura, you've heard me bring up this book 8,000 times.
And I read it because of you.
The 100-Year Marathon, read it, by Michael Pillsbury. The Chinese Communist Party is at war with us. It's not with guns and bombs. It's by infiltrating our government, infiltrating our ports, taking over our farms, taking away our manufacturing. They are infiltrated in our government. They are everywhere. They're in our schools. And this is what they want to do. And for anyone to say that this isn't happening, they're just denying reality, plain and simple. We are at war with China. They want to see us cease to exist, period, hard stop.
Well, and it's why people are very concerned right now, because you have a lot of China buying land here in the United States. And it just so happens that a lot of this land that they're buying is very strategically located. It's located near some of our big infrastructure, military bases. And actually, recent polling out there talking to just average Americans, 2 out of 3 Americans say, we don't want this. We don't want foreign adversaries buying our land here in America. By the way, 40 million acres of American land is owned by foreign actors. They're all different from different countries, but 350,000 of those acres are owned by China. Yeah. And it really, Erin, what you're saying about this, it's like this secret war that we are too aloof in America to understand is actually happening. China has been playing chess for decades, and we have been playing checkers here in America. No one has their eye on it. All I know is that Donald Trump told us a long time ago, it gave us a warning about TikTok. I don't think he was wrong about that. I downloaded TikTok on my phone, and I'm going to tell you, within a matter of days, I had some major issues on my phone. That's all I'll say.
Wow.
So you can draw whatever conclusion you want. But people are very nervous about this. And it feels like right now you've had the weakest leadership in the White House. And I'm going to have to put that in air quotes with Joe and Kamala. And they have been so soft on China. You had multiple spy balloons floating over the U.S., right? You have obviously no pressure on China whatsoever from this current administration to even give us any inkling or detail about COVID-19. That was one of the biggest travesties in our history. And here we are, no real answers, no consequences for China. If you whatever it is, when Donald Trump was in the White House, don't forget, you got a trade agreement with China. He put tariffs on China, and he said, no, you're going to actually play the game we say, and we're not going to play your game anymore. We have to get smart about China, or we're going to be very, very sorry about it. And by the way, speaking of China, guess where a lot of people from China are coming up through our southern border. You have had a huge influx of Chinese nationals coming through our southern border. Where's the borders are? Where is Kamala Harris? This is causing problems. You know, people coming from every country in the world. And Kathy Hochul right now, speaking of, is being pressured by the likes of even Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, to repeal the sanctuary city status of New York City. She could sign an executive order, Vianca, and just say, you know what, enough. This is causing major problems. We know the money it's costing the city of New York. But Eric Adams says that migrant crimes are really getting out of control, really getting serious. He wants to be able to hand them over to ICE and not deal with them from the NYPD. We've seen Aurora, Colorado. We've seen the Venezuelan gang take that place over. These are major issues. My question is, do you think, Vianca, we're going to see Kathy Hochul actually sign an executive order to repeal the sanctuary city status of New York?
I don't think so. I mean, she might consider it, but she'll probably wait until after the elections because she's trying to keep and retain all those Democrat seats that are to her convenience. And I think that if she were to retain them, at least most of them, then she wouldn't even consider it. But if she sees that there's a bunch of pressure and they lose several seats to the Republicans, which could be a very big possibility, it's already happened in the 2022 midterm elections, then she might consider it out of desperation. But the sad part is that that's the only reason and the only way that Democrats consider these type of proposals. It's when they feel the pressure and they feel like they're about to lose their elections, that's when they take action. It's never about genuinely improving the lives of people. It's never about actually caring about these issues because it doesn't affect them ever directly. Like, they don't care. They have these mansions, they live far away from, you know, where the majority of these people are being affected by these criminals. Because at the end of the day, and I know it's controversial, but honestly, like, I don't care. Like, it's a fact. Like, all the migrants that are here illegally have committed a crime by crossing illegally.
You broke our law
already in itself.
It's still a law, Vianca. I hate to remind Kamala Harris, the border czar, that is still a law on the books. You don't need Congress to act at all. You could apply the law right now as it's written and get all these people out of here and not allow another single person in here. Erin, they say the recent surge in violent crime, including incidents involving migrant gangs in Central Park and Queens Parks, where they've been reported to be raping, robbing, assaulting, and even shooting at police officers, demands immediate and decisive actions. The other thing that nobody's really talking about are the terrorists who've come over through the southern border. I mean, where do you think they're going to go? They're probably going to want to inflict maximum collateral damage. I would go to a place, I don't know, packed like New York. This is a serious problem. And, you know, Donald Trump called it out. He's the first one. His speech announcing he was running for president in 2015, he talked about why this was important. He took a lot of heat for it. And here we are. We're seeing why it is so imperative that we have a secure southern border.
Well, now it's not even just the southern border. There's other ports of entry. They're flying these people in. At this point, the southern border, there was so much heat that the Biden-Harris administration basically just directed these people through other ports of entry. And we have that's the problem. And I don't even know that this bell can be unwrong, because no, it's not just they're saying get in this country and hide. They're finding ways, whether it's through Social Security or Medicare or, you know, some DMV offices, getting these people almost legitimized to look like citizens. So if we say when Donald Trump gets in, hey, you're here illegally, that's going to be very hard to prove. And I have big concerns about how we unring this bell. I think the biggest thing that we can do is cut off the financial resources. No, you don't get to live in one of our free houses. No, you don't get to have plane tickets all over the country. No, you don't get $25,000 for school or a job or a startup. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. If these people want to live here, now that they're already here, if we cannot deport them, which I do believe that we should, but this administration and these NGOs have been very smart. They have done a very good job making these people look legitimate. The one thing that we can't do is just cut them off financially and make sure that we make them at least assimilate into our country. Because as we've seen, mass migration has never worked in any part of the world. Germany is now rolling it out. We're seeing major problems in Sweden and all across Europe. London is an absolute nightmare right now. And if something isn't done, we are going to have major problems, and terrorist attacks aren't off the table, unfortunately.
Agreed. All right, well, ladies, thank you for the insights and the thoughts today. Big debate. We're gonna be watching. We're gonna be hoping for the best, and we're gonna be hoping that everybody realizes that the only way this country can move forward successfully is with Donald J. Trump back in that White House. Erin and Bianca, thank you for joining me today. To everybody at home, as always, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. And we'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.